Even though many fans wanted to see the Marvel television characters, especially those that were on Netflix, including the Defenders and the Punisher, it seems like those characters were never actually considered by the Russo Brothers or the screenwriters Markus and McFeely. During recent interviews with the New York Times and comicbook.com, they revealed the real reason why the Netflix Defenders were not some of the characters that popped out of the portals during the end fight in Avengers Endgame. The screenwriters explained, "We would have to introduce these 5 characters, or whatever many. We already are assuming people have seen a lot of the movies. Are we really going to assume they've bought a Netflix subscription and have watched the shows enough so that when they go and see them, they're going to go, yes." It also screws up the timelines. You would have to assume that they all got snapped away, or otherwise they might have shown up earlier. So that's pretty much the screenwriter's explanation for why they didn't actually include the Defenders in Avengers Endgame, but Joe Russo was talking to Comic Book separately, and they asked, why didn't we see the Defenders come out of one of the portals? And his response was pretty similar, although he did kind of give a bit more reasoning, basically saying that it would have been logistically challenging due to trying to fold in all of the Marvel movies, but then also putting TV shows on top of that. Where would the timeline for these specific characters be? Were their shows' storylines concurrent with Infinity War and Endgame? And how could the characters conceivably show up in Endgame without having already been introduced to the audience through the movies? So basically it just wouldn't have worked out. As sad as it sounds, even though there are a lot of fans that have seen the Marvel Netflix shows that keep up with the MCU movies and have, a broad sense of all these characters, there's still a good portion of the audience that has never actually watched the Netflix shows like Daredevil, Punisher, Jessica Jones, etc. So you can kind of see where they're coming from in the sense that it would have been a lot to kind of cram in and introduce. So if you suddenly have all the Defenders come out and they get a response from maybe a third of the crowd, the rest of the crowd's going to be saying, who are those characters? Because we never seen them in the Marvel movies before. So what are your guys' thoughts on this? Do you buy or sell their explanation on why the Netflix characters were not included in Endgame and why they were not featured in that final battle with all of the MCU characters? I can kind of see both sides of it, because the whole television thing, it reaches a smaller audience than you would have for the films. I mean, theoretically people could stream the shows around the world, but again, there's just a smaller fraction of the audience that actually keeps up with the Netflix shows compared to watching, say, Guardians 2 or Thor Ragnarok in a movie theater. For more updates on everything Marvel and pop culture, be sure to subscribe to HN Entertainment.